Hey everyone, it's Maribel Blue with a new Pathetically Unfiltered. If you are new here to this channel, welcome. Please take a moment, consider subscribing, hit that bell notification so you will get notified when I upload a new video. And if you are not new, welcome back. We have a lot to cover. I have been addicted to the Don Lemon show. He has been streaming live twice a day. I'm not sure if he's doing it on the weekends. And he was talking about Prince Andrew, who was arrested today. It's insane. And I believe it's his birthday. So happy birthday to the former Prince Andrew, no longer a prince. That title was taken away from him, I believe, about a month ago. And just imagine the royal family having to deal with this horror. I mean, I know people don't care about the royal family, but it feels good to know that they are looking at this as a very serious thing. They are doing something about it, unlike here in the United States, where all of these pedos are running around free and nobody is doing anything about it. And that's the insane thing. I said it in my last video. These people do not change. They are not redeemable people. And it's facts, it's the truth. If you look at any crime that has occurred with this type of behavior, when they get out of jail, what do? They do it again. They don't change. They find ways to do it. And it's disgusting. What I found with Kyle from Secular Talk, he was covering something yesterday and I wanted to throw up. I just cannot believe how disgusting these people are. And nobody is doing anything about it. Anyway, so let's get into Andrew and play a little bit of Don Lemon. And then later on, when he gets to talk to Jeffrey Epstein's brother, who is still believing that Jeffrey Epstein did not kill himself. And I think we're all on the same page with that, because I can't see a narcissist doing it, although it's probably happened in real life with many people who have these narcissistic tendencies and behaviors.
Considering that this is a former member of the royal family, the brother of the King of England, the son of the former Queen England, the son of the former Queen, the departed Queen of England. So Prince Andrew, or formerly Prince Andrew, was arrested this morning and was kept in custody all day for questioning. He was seen leaving. We have a photo of him leaving the police station, the police investigation, in the back seat of a vehicle. That was about an hour or two ago. And so that is the former Prince Andrew there. The stunning development marks the first arrest of a member of the royal family in centuries and makes him the most high-profile figure to criminal accusations in a scandal that continues to sweep in some of the world's richest and most powerful. Now, here's what the interesting thing is that, there have been allegations about him and underage women or young women, or the trafficking of women, or, what their relationship of women. But the interesting thing is that what he is being charged with is giving away information, top secret information, to Jeffrey Epstein. And that is the charge. This month, the Thames Valley Police said that it was looking into a claim that the former prince, while serving as UK trade envoy in 2010, had shared confidential documents with Epstein. One email in the latest U.S. release appears to show him forwarding Epstein a report of his special advisor about the then prince's visit to Southeast Asia. So he has denied wrongdoing in that. But I want to bring in now someone who can speak to all of this and has a wealth of knowledge and information, interviewing folks, seeing some of the files, and that is Yasmin Ansari, Representative Yasmin Ansari. She has served Arizona's 3rd Congressional District since 2025. Representative, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
And when you heard this news, your reaction?
Look, I think it has been both positive to see how other countries are holding perpetrators and those who are connected to Jeffrey Epstein accountable, but also such a reality check and a wake-up call to show just how far behind we are here in the United States. I missed some of your intro, but obviously the big news of today is that, Andrew was arrested. We know that he's been released temporarily. Not sure the details of this, but we know that the Epstein scandal and the fact that so many people in the United Kingdom and the royal family and other countries were involved, this is completely ripping apart the monarchy in the UK. In other places, around the world, people have had to resign from their positions. They're getting fired. They're getting stripped of the titles that they had, and I think that's really important. And to me, I was thinking a lot today about Virginia Giuffre, one of the most outspoken victims of Jeffrey Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, and all of these other people. They called her a liar for so many years. They made her life hell for so many years. And I think that the dam is finally breaking on this. And it's time here in the United States for us to hold individuals who had any involvement with Epstein, enabled his crimes in any way, accountable once and for all.
So I want to say this, and I think it's very important we all understand this part here. There are people in this world who have serious issues as we are seeing everything unfold. There is one thing to have a fetish, yet another when it goes beyond the spectrum of what we understand to be freaky. Let's not get anything twisted here. What's happening here is not a fetish, it's not a freak. There is something mentally wrong with you when you want to play with a child who probably doesn't understand the difference between right and wrong. You're taking advantage of their vulnerability and their innocence. And I want to piggyback on something that Bishop, and if you recall Bishop, I interviewed her last year. There was something she said in one of her TikTok posts about why people have this tendency of worshiping celebrities, worshiping rich people. She was actually talking about James Van Der Beek, and that's something that I want to talk about separately, not on this video. James Van Der Beek passed away, as many people know. They raised over $2 million for his fund, whatever it is that needed to be paid off. And like I said, I'm going to talk about that in another time. In this case here, my point being how people just have this real weird tendency to worship people with money and worry about their finances and worry about them being broke. Like, how is that changing your life? Why do you care so much about their finances? It's doing absolutely nothing for you. It's not paying your rent. It's not paying your mortgage. It's not paying any of your bills. It's not taking care of any credit card debt that you may have. So, what is the fixation and obsession with celebrities, with rich people, and with money? And I feel like a lot of it has been conditioned with a lot of reality TV. If you go back to my videos, I covered a lot of reality TV. I talked about The Bachelor, I talked about The Bachelorette, I talked about the Real Housewives franchise. When you put yourself in a position where you're worshiping these people who you believe is doing something better for humanity. I mean, Kelly Dodd was busy talking shit. No one should be surprised. She's a piece of shit person. So, of course, she's going to talk bullshit about what she's not comfortable with, Bad Bunny. Forget about other people's money because it's not going to do anything for you. Each and every person needs to be held accountable for what they have done. This is sick, not normal behavior. We need to continue calling it out. Don't worry about their finances. Don't worry about what attorney they need to get to defend themselves. I think that Andrew knew clearly what he was doing. When he says, "Oh, I don't remember Virginia Giuffre," really? Well, we put this picture in front of you and you can't remember taking that picture? I'm sure that there are a lot of things that I had forgotten about. If I go through my bag of pictures and start looking through it, I'm sure that all of these memories are going to come flooding back from a picture. So for this man to say, I don't remember her, is bullshit. Now I'm going to go ahead and share a statement on TikTok.
Well, this is all happening very fast, but we have just literally this minute had a statement from the King about the arrest of Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, and I can read that statement to you now. He says, I've learned with the deepest concern the news about Andrew Mountbatten Windsor and the suspicion of misconduct in public office. What now follows is the full, fair and proper process by which this issue is investigated in the appropriate manner and by the appropriate authorities. In this, as I've said before, they have our full, wholehearted support and cooperation. Let me state clearly, the law must take its course. As this process continues, it would not be right for me to comment further on this matter. Meanwhile, my family and I will continue in our duty and service to you all. And that statement for the King, signed Charles R. So that is the response. Extraordinarily, we are due to see the King open London Fashion Week imminently, as his brother has been arrested this morning. So that's just in, Gail.
Yeah, I'm wondering, it was stunning. For us here in the United States, did you all have any heads up? Was there any talk that this was possibly in the works? Were you all as surprised as we were here in the U.S.?
There has been momentum building over the last few days, Gail. We saw yesterday, I think, an accumulation of around 7 or 8 police forces getting involved. We also had the involvement announced yesterday of the NCA, which is our national crime agency, sometimes described as the British FBI. So there has been a feeling that police forces could no longer not look at this very seriously, and I think it has been moving in one direction. That said, to see those police cars arriving, about 8 of them this morning, at the Sandringham estate, at Wood Farm, where Andrew is temporarily staying, is quite a moment. This is the King's brother who has been arrested on suspicion of misconduct in a public office, the first senior royal to ever be arrested.
So clearly, the UK isn't fucking around when it comes to this. And it may not be Epstein related from what we're seeing right now, but at some point, I believe everything will begin to unfold. Now, I'm going to play a little bit of Jeffrey Epstein's brother. As everyone knows, a lot of the interviews that his brother has been doing has not been on camera. He is not showing his face for whatever reason that is. I mean, I think everybody pretty much knows what he looks like from previous pictures, but he's not showing his face now. And I'm sure it's to protect himself because of this network, this empire of pedos that are running around and either resigning from their post and not hanging their heads in shame. I mean, they think that, oh, well, I'll quit and it's all going to go away. Like, your sick pervertedness is never going to go away. There's not enough soap to wash your hands away from anything, any crime that you have done with a child. It's just absolutely disgusting.
No one is above the law. I want to bring in now Jeffrey Epstein's brother, Mark Epstein. Mark, thank you for joining us.
That's my pleasure.
Can you hear us, Mark?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can hear you. Yes, Mark.
Okay.
Thanks for joining. Yeah,
That's
look, I know that you want to. There are some things that you will talk about, some things that you won't talk about. But do you have any response to Prince Andrew's arrest today?
None whatsoever. No, I have nothing to add to that. I wasn't there. I never met him, so there's nothing I can add to this.
Yeah, but for the victims, I'm sure there has to be some sort of satisfaction in it, that they feel that at least someone is, are paying some consequences for it.
Well, from what I understand, he was arrested for crimes related to his position with the government, nothing to do with the thing with the girls. But that's not the topic I want to talk about.
Yes, you want to talk about what? About his
what
death.
I want to talk about is Jeffrey's death, which is actually a murder. I know a lot of people don't believe that, but with the release of the files, there's been more information coming out. For instance, the doctor, the pathologist that actually did the autopsy, Dr. Kristen Roman, she was deposed afterwards, and in her deposition, she stated that she was told not to take DNA evidence, and she was prohibited from going to the crime scene, which is very unusual in this kind of a case. We also found that the FBI destroyed the hard drives, the information on hard drives in the prison, because they swapped them out when they shouldn't have, and they were warned that swapping out the hard drives would lose the information. There's a lot more information coming out, and also there's rumors out that there was a second autopsy. There wasn't a second autopsy. There was only one. The results of which, on the cause of death on the initial death certificate, it said pending further study, because Dr. Roman and Dr. Bodden, who was also at the autopsy, came out of the autopsy and they said they couldn't call it a suicide because it looked too much like a homicide. That doesn't appear anywhere. A few days later, Barbara Sampson, the chief pathologist, she calls it a suicide, and she never saw Jeff's body. So the question becomes, what is she basing her information on? And when the death certificate says pending further study, many pathologists have told me it usually takes weeks before you get an answer because they're studying something. Well, more recently, a group of pathologists have latched onto this and they contacted me. They're not doing this on my behalf, and I'm not paying for this or anything, so I don't want anybody to think this is being skewed to my favor. But I gave them all of the autopsy information, the photographs, all the records I had, and they've been investigating it. They've been doing the proper study. Okay, and they're coming out with a report, and it's going to be peer reviewed, and it will be released afterwards. But and they'll basically be showing that this wasn't a suicide. But I'm not going to give any details now, because I'm waiting for this report to be released after it's peer reviewed. And then the issue becomes, look, factually, there's sort of three ways to die, right? You can commit suicide, you could die of natural causes, or you can have an unnatural death, either an accident or you're killed. So, if people want to believe that Jeffrey committed suicide, then all the information that we have pointing away from that could just be considered to be circumstantial evidence and ignored in their mind. The guards weren't doing their job, or the fire alarm system was made inoperable in the prison. That's one thing that many people don't know, that the fire alarm system was made inoperable, and that controls motion sensors and doors. But it was a suicide. But once the suicide gets knocked out of the box as a possibility, well, then you're left with natural causes. We know Jeff didn't die of natural causes. The other one is an unnatural death. And we know he wasn't hit by a bus. So, he was killed. And then a real investigation, an independent investigation, should be done into the murder. Now, the question becomes, who can do that? The DOJ has been covering up this whole case. It started when Bill Barr came out and said that after the death, that he personally watched the videotape of the camera outside of the tier, and he saw that nobody went in or out of the tier, and that convinced him it was a suicide.
So I'm going to leave it at that for now. As I get more information, I'll be putting more videos together because I do want to talk about other things that's coming up in the news. I mean, I have a whole list of things that I want to talk about and just putting everything together. So before I close out, I want to say one more thing. All of this is unfolding. We're all watching everything in real time. There are a lot of people who like to put these conspiracy theories, which I honestly can't stand a lot of the times. It's one thing to be entertained with conspiracy theories, yet another when people try to incorporate their conspiracy theories as facts and reality when they are not. When we do that, we are taking away ourselves from the facts and reality of everything that is occurring in this. So please keep in mind, there are victims that we've seen. There are victims that we have not seen who are probably afraid to come forward. Let's take them under consideration of what is happening. One conspiracy theory I need to address, somebody had put out a video on TikTok talking about Ghislaine Maxwell in prison, taking the fifth. Well, who is this? What man is this? Look, the woman is in prison. Okay. There is no glamour there. And think about where she was at previously before they decided to put her in a prison where it's like a spa. You don't know what she went through in there. So let's stop with the conspiracy theories of who is this man. Just cut the bullshit out. I really fucking hate that shit. You take away from everything when you put out stupid content like this. If it turns out that she's a man and that there's a man in there in her place, okay. But until then, let's keep in mind of the victims who have put themselves out there, and this whole regime has made it into a joke, because after all, the Dow is over 50,000. She started to say dollars until she caught herself, or because people were laughing at her. Apparently, that is more important for Pam Bondi. And one thing I want to say, I do want to share this. Jesse Twatters. I figured I put the twat and just as one word.
And it looks like he's mostly just a fixer, a guy who advises. He helps people with their problems. Sometimes those problems are, you need a girl.
Or some penicillin.
Or some, if you need it, he's got it.
He's a rabbi.
I never heard anything so stupid in my whole entire life, but we cannot expect anything more from Jesse Twatters. In closing, I just want to say thank you for watching. Thank you for bringing my views up for people who are watching, who are supporting this channel. I appreciate you so, so much. You have no idea. I'm like getting close to the application process to apply and to able to monetize to this channel. So thank you for watching and supporting and hitting like and sharing the videos. I can't say how grateful I am enough to all of you who are really supporting this channel and bringing it up. With all that being said, this is Maribel Blue signing off. I would love to know your thoughts on everything that's unfolding. And always remember, be good to yourself, be good to each other, and most importantly, take care of you. Bye, everybody.